I will now call to order the Wytheville Town Council meeting, Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in Municipal Building at 150 East Monroe Street, Wytheville, Virginia. We do have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Joseph Hand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so next is approval of the agenda. I will need a motion, please.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Right here, none. This will be a roll call vote. Start with Councilman Hand, please.
Joseph Hand, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye. Johnson, aye.
Just for information, there's potential for a recess if necessary. Next is the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the work session and the regular meeting of May 27th, 2025. I need a motion.
So moved.
That we approve the minutes of the work session and the regular meeting of May 27th.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor Taylor, I'm not going to vote on that. I'm going to abstain from that because I was not here. Sorry, I was sick. I was not feeling well. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for reminding us. All right. All right, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a public hearing to consider the request of Ms. Donna Leonard for a special use exception permit to operate an accounting office and tax office on property located at 525 North 4th Street, tax parcel 41A-1-22-7 in an R2 residential zoning district. So before we open that up, Assistant Town Manager Lane, do you have anything to say?
Just very quickly, I will add that in your packet, under item 8A, you have the application, a staff report, photos. You also have, at the beginning of that, a staff report summary. And in essence, just as a reminder, you will have the public hearing before you consider that request. And you will notice in that staff report that the Planning Commission did meet on Thursday, May the 8th, to consider the application, and they recommended that the application be approved with 5 conditions, and the 5 conditions are stated there. If you agree with those conditions, you can approve that. With the conditions, you also have the option to modify the conditions. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Thank you.
Before we open this up, does council have any questions?
I have some questions, Dr. Taylor.
You want to do it in the open session, or?
Or what you asked. You want me to
I
wait?
did,
I'm sorry.
but I don't know what you're going to.
Let's go ahead and do the public first. Is that what you want to do? I'm sorry.
Yeah, fine.
That's fine. I'll wait. I'll just wait. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so we will now open up the public hearing to receive public comments. And I do not have anybody that I know signed up to speak. Is there somebody that wants to speak towards that?
Yeah, I just need to ask a question.
Yes, if you please come up, state your name and your address for the minutes, please,
My name
sir.
is Eric Simmons, 665 East Spring Street. I would like to know, what is the procedure for when you see drug activity going on in your neighborhood in terms of reporting it?
Okay. So we can take that question from you in just a few minutes, but this is a specific hearing for a request. And if you give us just a couple minutes, and when we
Absolutely.
close this,
Yep.
then we'll get you back up here.
Miss Leonard, can I ask you a question? Do you have any concerns or anything that you'd like to share, or does everything on here look good to you?
No, well, when I went to the public hearing, at the Planning Commission,
I told them, they were asking, we were talking about what to do and what not to do, and I said, well, I'm not going to give you my dream. I want you to tell me what you want me to do to get it passed.
Okay.
Because I've already got a contract contingent upon getting it passed, and my hopes and dreams. So I agreed to everything that they put on there. So do you? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Was there anything that you were sort of like in limbo about? Or if you'd rather not share, that's fine.
no, and you'll have to remind me what all 5 went in there, because we discussed
Absolutely.
so many. Could we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yes, let's go through those together.
Okay, thank you.
So the 5 conditions was the first one was the hours of operation, no earlier or later than 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. And I believe you said that should be more than adequate.
And we had to put that in there for the 12 weeks of tax season. We won't be in there that every single day.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second one was no left turn from the property onto North 4th Street.
My
Right
response
turn
was,
lane.
we could put up a sign, but, it's not up to us to, we'll put up all the signage that's needed.
Right, and it just as a reminder for council, if you look at that site, it's fairly close to an intersection, so we just had concerns about folks turning left out of there in terms of traffic. Okay, so the third one was the parking layout requires the parking configuration a minimum amount of parking spaces as shown on the application site plan, and that was 6 parking spaces, 3 for employees in the rear and 3 in the front with an ADA accessible space. And then we talked about the parking surface, and in the condition, it said that the parking surface shall be a minimum of stone surfaced, but it may be paved at the discretion of the applicant. So,
For the ADA section.
Correct.
And I've since gotten some ideas about that as well.
okay, all right.
Because part of it, because it's paved going up to that porch, so I'm just going to maybe make a slope there, and that could be it. But
Correct, and we did speak about that at the Planning Commission meeting, and essentially, ADA ingress and egress to the parking lot is covered under the building code, and so Ms. Leonard would work with the building official on that parking ADA space. Okay, so the 4th condition had to do with the ADA accessible space with the paved to the front of the building. And then the 5th one was we talked about the business sign, and at the Planning Commission meeting, there was conversation about the sign sort of fitting into the residential nature of the neighborhood. So the 5th condition did have to do with the sign, and it says that the freestanding business sign shall not exceed 20 square feet of sign face area and must meet all other sign requirements of the entrance corridor zoning overlay. And then when I pulled up the entrance corridor overlay, it said that the freestanding sign regulations provide a maximum height of 6 feet tall, and the sign must be located at least 5 feet from any public right-of-way and 15 feet from any other property line, and the sign cannot obstruct sight triangles of any street or access driveway. So, and if I understood correctly, that sign could work properly for your location.
And this was the sign, and then we agreed that the planter that it's going to go in, there was no stipulation on that.
Correct.
So there's going to be some type of flower planters and the sign in that.
Right. So those were the 5 conditions.
And you're good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Leonard. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other? Okay.
So while we are still have a open public hearing, there was one letter that came in by mail, and I'm going to read that letter, if that's okay. To whom it may concern, in regards to the proposed zoning exception of the property located at 525 North 4th Street, Wytheville, Virginia, we would like to propose a few suggestions as an alternative to what is currently planned. While we are not totally opposed to the plans for this property being used as an accounting firm and tax assistant office, we do want to ask why the proposed buyer cannot find a suitable lease from their business in the downtown Main Street or Monroe Street area. If the town's intention is to turn all of the 4th North Street into potential business locations while trying to maintain a hometown feel to the area, we would suggest creating parking on the street, much like has been done on Monroe Street, 1-2 lanes for parking or on either side. Currently, their 4-lane situation of North 4th Street does not lead itself to the hometown feel. for trade around downtown and adjoining streets. It is 2-lane with parking on either side. It would induce excessive traffic and decrease the frequency of speeding and drag racing on the street, which occurs all day long. In addition to the proposed parking lot at 525 North 4th Street would be unsightly in a currently zoned residential block and would not keep the hometown feel of Wytheville, Virginia, but rather emulate a strip mall. And parking is created on either side of North 4th Street. It would provide additional parking opportunities for events downtown and Withers Park and slow speeding and racing. In addition, we feel the proposed parking on North 4th Street would lead itself more to having small businesses open on this street. Thank you for your consideration.
And can you list who sent that? Or at least spell it?
N, I guess that's the initial for the first name, TEMPENNY, and GPIVARNIK.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, so if there's nobody else here to speak to the public hearing, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
Dr. Taylor.
You go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No.
At the time.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to share a few thoughts, if I may, about the special exception permit. First of all, being a certified planner myself, I understand that a special exception means when somebody has special circumstances that, and sometimes that is true, and that's why the special exception permits are in place. But I watched the video online when all this was discussed at their meeting, and I just really failed to see any special circumstances other than somebody that wants to put a business in a house. I really disagree with putting a parking lot in a front yard in a residential district. I think that's does not conform with making it feel like a home. You're going to have cars parked in somebody's front yard in a parking lot. Our code does not allow that. Our code does not allow a business in a house. However, there are special circumstances. I'm just trying to find them. What are the special circumstances that makes this make sense? Because the folks next door have contacted me, and that's the folks that own the vacant lot. They will be here to speak whenever we have our next meeting, but they are not pleased with that either. And I feel like you have to go up that street and imagine how it's going to look to see a parking lot in somebody's front yard and a business, there's going to be a sign in a residential district as well. And 4th Street is not a residential. It's not zoned business. It's zoned residential. So as long as, and we need to not forget that we need to support the businesses or the properties downtown. We have invested a lot of money to ask people to be in downtown. So it doesn't make any sense that we're putting a business in a house when we have multiple spaces available in business zone in Wytheville. So it concerns me a lot that it is happening. And if you look right down the street from that on the corner of Pine, as you go up the hill, there is a White House on the corner. There is a paved lot in the backyard, a parking lot. That was from a special exception permit. You have a paved parking lot in a backyard in R2. And this is going to put a parking lot in a front yard in R2. Our code doesn't allow that. And it's reasons why it doesn't, because it protects us all. So I have failed to see special circumstances as to why this makes sense. And you cannot tell people they cannot turn right or a left. They're going to turn how they want to turn, and you can't have signs, no left turn, no right turn. It's going to look awful. I disagree with this. And Donna, I know you personally, and this is nothing personal. I'm so sorry, but it is my obligation to uphold what the town rules say. We're all obligated to uphold that. And I just did not see any special circumstances to vote for this, and I'm sorry, but I will not be able to support it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question on that? Is that okay?
Sure.
I didn't know, and I don't know if the lady had to get a special permit for the one where there used to be a hair shop and there's a parking area up there.
She did.
She did.
She got a
Yeah,
special
you were
exception
here
permit
during
for
that
that.
because you asked her
That's
some
correct.
questions.
Oh, no, ma'am. I wasn't on council.
No, she
Yes, ma'am. I
wasn't.
wasn't on council at that time. Because I know that shop's been there a while. That was the one on Tazzle Street, right up here, the one that had the special exception permit. And then also, I'm not for sure how the lines fall for Wyatt Insurance. I think they have some parking out front.
Actually, their parking is on Spiller Street on the side of their building, and they exit and enter on Spiller Street, not 4th Street. But that was also a special exception permit. But I don't see putting a parking lot in a front yard in this long strip of homes, and then all of a sudden there's this parking lot in somebody's front yard. It's just, I don't see that's going to be good for the folks next door or across the street who have to look out and see a parking lot in somebody's front yard. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm sorry, that's my thoughts on that. So,
A special exception was permitted at the address of 775 North 4th Street. That's where the Mrs. Dilts put in a hair salon, and she was granted ADA parking in the front and parking in the back. So it was granted, and in her stipulation, in order to open, she could not make, anybody making a turn onto 4th Street could not make a left turn. You could only make a right turn. And it worked beautifully, beautifully. And this is the same idea Ms. Leonard has, and that's the same idea that the Planning Commission granted her. She's got a beautiful location. In fact, she's got an ingress and an egress, 2 different entrances into her property, which is better. And we granted her this permit, or hopefully going to get this permit, but she cannot turn right onto 4th Street. And this is the same stipulation we did at 775 North 4th Street.
She can't turn left.
The 2 houses on the upper side of Ms. Leonard are rentals, and they both are in agreement that they don't have a problem with her placing a business there. It's still going to look like a home, still going to look like a house. She's not going to have flashing lights, no big signs out front. In fact, her business is called a quiet business. Very little disturbance to the neighborhood and to the neighbors. And I think she's making probably a good financial reason for this whole thing. Buy your own property, put your business there, and, we welcome that, Ms. Leonard. I've had 2 citizens come up to me this week and say, well, I don't want downtown any more businesses or any more doctor's office. I want to see restaurants and retail stores. So you got argument on both sides. Some citizens don't even want to see her business on Main Street, much less Monroe Street. So we've got 6 special exception permits that have been issued for 4th Avenue. They've all worked beautifully, beautifully. We haven't had any trouble. And I personally would like to see her business go in on 4th Avenue.
Me personally, The permits have been granted to other businesses, and I'm not going to not afford Ms. Leonard the opportunity that we've already afforded other businesses. And that's just my position on it. I believe in being fair. Fair is fair, and we've allowed other businesses to set up, and I want to be fair to her because other permits have been approved. I'm sorry, but I have to be fair to Ms. Leonard.
I have a couple questions for Ms. Patterson. So you said we approved 6 on 4th Street? What 6 were those, please?
Wyatt Insurance,
Yep.
Skyline Bank, the Hair Saloon at 495 North 4th Street, the Hair Saloon at 775 North 4th Street, the Eye Care on, at 280 West Fulton Street, which also is on 4th, and the medical offices.
What medical offices? On 4th Street?
4th Street and Fulton, in Ridge Road.
Special steps, okay.
Would that be would that be at the dentist's office?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I wasn't for
Yes.
sure. I wasn't for sure.
They've all been approved. And if I remember correctly, we had very little opposition in these 6 that have come before the planning commission. Very little opposition.
I'd like to,
Well, look tonight. Where's the opposition tonight? Okay?
because a sign was not placed on the property, first of all, which we have always done, so a lot of people might not know about it. And I do not think that it's right for the council to encourage people to break the ordinances that we have. I do not encourage you to put a business in a house. I do not encourage you to do that. And we should not be encouraging that either. We have ordinances to uphold that protects everybody. Special exceptions, let's talk about the ones on North 4th Street, because it's unfair to say that they worked beautifully. That is not correct. When I came on council in 2016, there had been a special exception, which I had no part of. It was the hair place on North 4th Street you just spoke about, up the top of the hill on the one that you spoke about.
I think it's JL's, and I could be wrong.
can't
I could be
remember.
Yellow
wrong.
hair.
Sorry. Yes. I'm
So
sorry.
the house right beside it, when they would pull in and they would back out, they were backing out in her front yard, the house next door, because the cars, when you park in the front yard, when you backed out. So she and I had to complain about that in 2016 when I came on council. Also, they were supposed to build a 6-foot fence out back. That did not happen. I had to complain. So it didn't happen beautifully. It does not always happen that way. Just because folks aren't out here complaining, we have an obligation to uphold the ordinances as they are written. And special exceptions do occur, absolutely. I'm just looking for the special circumstances here that we're going to put a business in a house.
My question
Just-
is, so you're saying the planning commission approved this, sent it to us, and they're in violation of our ordinance?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
No, they're saying that they're asking that you go above our ordinance.
Okay.
They're asking you to vote against our ordinance this doesn't pass unless you vote against our ordinance. That's the only way it passes. So that is my concern, is that we are voting, and there are circumstances, and that's okay. I just question putting a parking lot in a front yard on 4th Street. But I've already said all I'm going to say. I mean, but I do want to make it known that this council should uphold the ordinances, and we need to be careful putting businesses in homes. Our ordinance does not allow that.
They're already there.
They're
Already there. They've already approved it.
And they had to
So,
meet certain circumstances.
If what you do for one, you have to do for
But no,
someone
ma'am,
else.
because each of these are
So
special circumstances.
It's already been done for
Every special
others.
exception permit has very specific things that person
Mm-hmm.
has to do to make it work. Wyatt Insurance is on the corner. The eye doctor is on a corner. A dentist is on a corner. They're corner lots. The bank is on a corner. This is between 2 properties.
Are the
It's
hair
not
salons
same.
on a corner
All of
as
these
well?
properties are not treated the same. That's why you have to look at each of them individually, because they're not all the same. That's all I'm saying. They're different. So we have to look at each one individually, not based on what they did before, because those folks had very special things that they had to do. But they're not going to pull out on 4th Street. The only one on 4th Street that pulls out on 4th Street is the hair place. All the rest of them are on a corner lot. They don't have to pull out on 4th Street. They have other access from different streets. So that was my concern, because 4th Street is very busy, very busy.
So
Thank you for letting me share all that.
Absolutely.
That's all I
We're
want to
glad-
share, but thank you. I
I'm glad
appreciate
you
it.
did. So, the residents that live there all these years, I don't know if it's been lived in a lot, they came out, they came in off, and then they came out onto 4th Street, right? So that's been already been being done. If the parking area, which I think is, I don't know how many, for 3 cars in the front, I mean, that could, I agree that you need one for the handicap front, but either or, the others could be moved if you wanted to, but she has a business that is not hustle and bustle, you know, so it's not going to be turning things around, you know, all the time. So I'm agreeing with Vice Mayor and Kathy and whoever else votes that I think it'd be a good thing. So, does council have anything else to discuss?
The planners, we might suggest that they look at 4th Street to be rezoned. If we're going to have 6, and this is going to make 7 special exceptions, it probably makes sense to rezone 4th Street. At some point, once you get a number of permits. So is that something we could ask them to look at? Because it doesn't make sense to keep going through the special exception. If you want that on that street, that's fine, but we need to have it zoned right for that. That's just a thought.
I will agree, I will agree with that.
Yeah, and that is a good
Mr. Hand.
suggestion, Mr. Hand. That's a good suggestion.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So consideration by town council to issue a special use exception permit to Donna Leonard to operate an accounting office and tax office on property located at 525 North 4th Street, tax parcel 41A-1-22-7 in a R2 residential zoning. I will need a motion, please.
So maybe.
Now I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? What are you saying, Will?
Do they want to include the 5 stipulations? It's not in the motion.
Oh, okay. So the question is, for council, do we want to also include the 5 stipulations that were read in our vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Robert's right, it needs to be in your motion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so,
So you have a confirmation of the
Confirmation.
motion, you have a confirmation of the second to add that.
And that would be the 5 that Ms. Holton read.
correct.
Is everybody in agreement? Yeah.
Yeah, the 5 that are listed currently in our packet that has been publicly posted.
All right, so we have a motion to allow this and to also for all the stipulations. So we have a motion and a second, correct? Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? All right, here none. This will be a roll call vote. We'll start with Vice Mayor.
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Joseph Hand, no.
The ayes have it. Congratulations. We appreciate that. Moving forward on the agenda is citizens period. And we do know that Mr. Simmons would like to come back up. Now, I apologize for the delay, sir.
No, I
And
just don't
again,
know the
if you'll
procedure.
state your name and your address, please.
Yep, my name is Eric Simmons, 665 East Spring Street. Concerned about, it appears to be drug use or traffic on our road to the point to where I've spoken to the house and I should say houses and the people there not to come on to the laundromat property. Now it's coming over to the laundromat property. You know, it's one thing for you to do something on your property. I don't have no control over that, but when you start coming over to the laundromat property or parking at my house, then that becomes something totally different. So my question is, who do I need to speak to someone to investigate this traffic here? Because it's just not on Spring Street, it's also on Franklin Street. I followed each of these, well, I'm not going to say each of these people, I followed these people to these different houses.
Chief Ash, do you have anything you'd help us with?
Well, I spoke to Mr. Simmons briefly outside, and I advised him just to stop by Pity, speak to captain and our truck person. And hopefully we can get something,
Okay,
get something set up.
okay, thank you.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mayor.
I was just going to say, I think that would be a first step, which, you know, to go by his advice, and then sometimes that is helpful, sometimes it's not, so feel free to bring that back to us if it's not, and we can put our heads together and try to help you out there.
Well, my concern was, you know, we providing you guys pictures, and then in the newspaper, it reads that the community people, you know, provided y'all with the information. Now that becomes a target on our back. I don't want that. I have to open and close. He has to open and close. And there's no police officers there to protect us. So I'm saying that, you know, I don't mind helping out, but at the same time, I don't want us to be put in jeopardy either.
But these special patrols, you know, your name won't be mentioned or her name. This is something that we're going to be doing as a department.
Okay.
So, you know, you guys are going to be safe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. We're going to, you know, work throughout this and do some special, you know, patrols that we do throughout, you know, the town or other places.
Okay, gotcha. Now, I just heard, on another topic, I just heard you guys talk about possibly rezoning an area. So does the residents that's already there, are they going to be informed that their taxes may be going up if it's rezoned?
I can answer
I
that
would
question.
have to-
There's no tax increase regardless of how it is zoned, whether it's R1, 2, 3, or business. It's not based on that.
Okay,
And everybody would be involved and be informed, and there would be a lot of the public meetings and all that if it ever comes to that point.
okay.
But yes, sir, everybody would be involved.
Okay, so now I can ask the question, will Spring Street be rezoned? From my understanding, that was a conversation?
No.
No?
Has that
Okay.
been a conversation in the planning commission that Spring Street will be rezoned?
I haven't heard about that.
It would have to go before the planning commission.
Yes, that's correct.
Commission, correct.
Okay,
And so, and if there is discussion of rezoning that area, they're supposed to be notified, am I correct?
Yeah.
the residents, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Simmons.
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Simmons.
All right, there's nobody else to speak during citizens' time, so we'll move forward. Next on the agenda is to consider an ordinance number 1449, the budget ordinance for fiscal year 2025-26 on third and final reading. Interim Town Manager, Mr. Moore, do you have anything to share with council?
I don't have a whole lot to add, but I will make a few notes for you. You have, I think, in your packet, a summary of the budget document, noting that projected expenditures are $38,365,181, with a projected revenue of $32,508,213. Making up the difference would be the use of a VML general obligation bond for water and sewer projects at $2.354 million, and a water rate increase for high-end users at $1,564,000. You also note that this has been an increase of $1.925 million from the last budget document you saw. What we've done is included the CDBG grant for Monroe Street Housing Project for site work in this document. So you receive the money from that, and it's also expended out. So that's the reason for that increase. We also did receive an increase in our Versa insurance coverage, and that's reflected in there. And we also received increased revenue, or at least we hope to, from the county for fire services, so that's also listed there. I do have some good news. Is my understanding that the county has approved the rate increase for water that we charge them that goes through our system, which included an add-on that has not been updated regularly, and they have agreed to the original purchase of that. And a little bit of bad news in that the county is also working on a new system for E911 911 that will probably come to fruition this year, this upcoming budget year, and that is an increase, will be a one-time outlay of $93,000 for the town. So I think that particular thing we could do in a budget revision later on in the year if you so desire, rather than adding it to this budget and complicating this process, because it is possible, I think, that you may not be paying for that until the following budget year. So just a quick summary. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them for you.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Moore? So consideration by Town Council to adopt ordinance number 1449, the budget ordinance for fiscal year 2025-26, and third and final reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Not quick enough over there. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, this will be a roll call vote. We'll start with Mr. Hand.
Aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson, aye.
That's unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Moore. Next on the agenda is to consider an appointment to the Joint Industrial Development Authority of Wytheville County, the JIDA, to fill the unexpired term of Ms. Vicki Parks. Term expires December 31, 2027. Do we have any from staff? Clerk Sherry Corbin, do you have anything to?
No, ma'am, I don't have anything to add. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Mr. Bloomfield's application is the only one that we had on file for this appointment.
So consideration by Town Council to make an appointment to the Joint Industrial Development Authority of Wytheville County or a schedule of meet and greet session. Need a motion?
I move that we appoint Mr. Bloomfield to the joint IDA.
Can I ask a question, or should I have asked before you make the motion? I'm sorry, I'll wait.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Can I second?
You made the motion.
I didn't think so.
Can I second?
Yes.
All right. So now we have motion and a second discussion. Mr. Hand.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, I was out of order there a little
It's
bit.
all right.
I was just curious if we could, if the town could consider doing a little more advertising on some of these vacancies, and maybe get a little bit more aggressive and trying to get folks to step up and serve. And just wanted to ask what what your thoughts were on that, and not just for this seat, but all of the seats that we just have a hard time getting folks. Is there any way we could encourage people and maybe really try to get folks involved and maybe advertise through our site? Maybe HR could help us with that, come up with some ideas. Any thoughts you all have on that?
I agree. Right now, I would like to ask that we postpone voting on this and allowing others the opportunity to apply, because this application, and I know that we keep them on file, the application is dated from 7/17/2023. So at that time, he and Ms. Parks did apply. But since then, someone else may now be available to apply. I would just like to extend the opportunity to all of our constituents, since it is an unexpected, they weren't expecting her to leave out of her term. I I know when we met with her, I think she had planned on staying for the whole term. However, being that this is unexpected, I think that we need to afford other constituents to apply. They need to be made aware that it is a vacancy. And I would just like to see some other people apply so that we can be fair. I
So
don't know
I hear
how
what,
everybody
I
else
hear what
feels.
you're saying.
Mhm.
I would just say that Ms. Corbin has done the exact same thing that she did with this one. As far back as I've been here, whatever, that's just the way, if there's something, if they already have something, they reach out to that. And I'm going to let her explain what her process is so everybody can understand that we just didn't do this.
Oh, sure.
No, that is correct. As you know, people have to apply online, and they can apply online 24/7, 7 days a week. It's open for people. Also, all the boards are listed on there with every member listed and their term and when it expires, so people can see if there's a board that they're interested in. They will know when it expires. But, I've had a few inquiries about this today, and, we will make more effort to put it on the town website and things like that as we have openings that come up. We have advertised in the past, and I haven't received a lot of response from that, but we'll be glad to put it on the website, and we can put it in the newspapers and different things like that. If the council would like to do that, we'd be glad to do that.
Did you say you had some other people inquire about it?
Had a few citizens just asked me about it today, yeah.
So can we postpone this until our next council meeting? I know it was a motion on the table, but it was not second.
Yeah, there was
So
a
what
second.
we need?
Second.
Yes,
what need-
Mayor Taylor
it was
There was a
seconded.
second.
Oh, she did? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
With the quick exit of Ms. Parks, because she's going to be leaving the 1st of July, and JIDA will meet towards the end of this month. Is there any way we might consider filling that position? For Ms. Parks? I'm just trying to get a full board for the JIDA.
Would there be time for other people to look at it, or no? Would there be other means for other people to apply? Are you talking about just put Mr. Bloomfield in this time and then going forward?
Going forward, I think Ms. Corbin does an excellent job in, trying to get names. We all do an excellent job on this board to try to recruit people to serve on our committees. And sometimes we only have one name,
That's correct.
right, Ms.
Yes,
Corbin?
yes,
We only have
that
one
is
name
correct.
to choose from. And with the quick exit of Ms. Parks, I would like us to consider the appointment of Mr. Bloomfield.
Beyond there, there's no doubt whatsoever about what Ms. Corbin does. Ms. Corbin does an amazing job. I have no doubt about that. All I'm asking is, I'm not doubting how she does things or her potential, none of that. I'm not doubting any of that because she does an amazing job. However, she said some other people have called and inquired about it, and I would like to postpone it until our next meeting on the 23rd. We have, I think, a meeting on the 23rd, if I'm correct. So I would like to postpone it to the 23rd. And then if that is the only application, then we can move forward. But right now, if other people have inquired about it, I would like to afford them the opportunity. I want to know who those people are if they apply.
So if we do that, we'll still be done before they meet.
Yeah.
Right. So either way.
And they will be able to attend the meeting in July.
Right.
And does anybody even talk, because that was what, July 17th to 23. Would Mr. Bloomfield, is he even interested? Does anybody know?
Yes, he is interested, and he also completed the background form. I contacted him personally and told him I still have your application. Would you like to serve? And he said yes, and he did all the background and everything. So all of everything is up to date. It's just the date on the application. It's
Okay.
just because
No,
he
that's fine. That's fine.
applied a
Thank you.
couple of years ago.
Thank you, Ms. Corbin.
So are we asking Ms. Corbin to change the way she's done this policy stuff, for not policy, but for a decade at least or so? I mean, it's nothing in writing, there's not a whatever, but we're now deviating from what she's done all these years for just deviating. I mean, I didn't know who the candidate was until I think you had called me. But when I heard from someone at the hospital told me that she was leaving her position, I went to Ms. Corbin and I said, we're going to have a vacancy. I'll just give you some heads up. And then she took it from there, and she evidently had something in her thing to already do that. So,
Dr. Taylor, I'd like to see the chair of each of these boards get more involved in asking people to serve. I mean, all of these boards have somebody who is chair. If somebody called me and asked me, I would be thrilled just to be asked to serve. I don't think people know the opportunity is out there as much as it is, and how much it can actually mean to somebody, because it's meant a lot to me to be able to serve. So I would like to see those people, not her necessarily. It's not that she's doing anything wrong. That's not it at all. It's just we need somebody to reach out and ask people, actually make some calls. So maybe we could ask each of these boards to maybe look at that, maybe try to do a little bit
Give
more
some suggestions to us.
recruiting,
Mhm.
yeah, or something like that. Just a thought, but she does a great job, so we love Ms. Corbin. There's certainly
and she
nothing toward
could
her.
do that, and she can do that now, or she can do that going forward. But I'm just saying that we've had this way of doing stuff, and now all of a sudden we're going to change, which is fine, whatever council wants. But I just think it's unfair that she has a candidate that she already had contacted to fill out his paperwork, to update his paperwork, and now we're saying that candidate has to wait.
Well, I think each of us should be comfortable before we vote, and I'm not comfortable tonight. I mean, if that's what you want me to say, I'll say it, but I cannot vote on that tonight myself personally. And that's, so I'm not going to be able to, to do that.
All right. Is there any other dialogue? We had a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. So come down to a vote, and we're going to make this a roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilman Hand.
No.
Patterson, yes.
Taylor, yes.
Atkins, no.
Johnson, no.
All right. So that appointment is still up. And I do have a question. Is that candidate not allowed to put his vote in again, or are we saying no for that person?
No, we just
No,
asked to wait till the 23rd, ma'am. That's all we asked
That's
for.
all we asked. We
You can
haven't
request to be
denied
put back
it.
on the agenda if that's your desire.
Yes, please. Yeah.
We're asking it to be postponed
Yep.
until the 24th, for it
Or
to be put back on that agenda
That's
in
all.
the event that there are other applicants.
Mhm. All right. So we're moving forward here. Next on the agenda is to consider the request of Wytheville Fire and Rescue Department for traffic control to conduct the annual fire prevention parade on Saturday, October 11th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And Ms. Holton would answer any questions council has. Any council have any questions for Ms. Holton? Now, consideration by town council to approve the request of the Wytheville Fire and Rescue Department for traffic control and conduct the annual fire prevention parade. Need a motion?
So moved.
A motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Nah, ayes have it. All right, next on the agenda is to consider the issuance of hunting permits on, I couldn't skip any, hunting permits on the town-owned land on Sand Mountain. So, Mr. Moore, do you have any insight?
Well, I think as everybody may remember, annually, the town allows up to 50 applications for hunting permits on certain portions of the Sand Mountain property. If the applications exceed 50, all those names are put in a hat, and it's drawn. A lottery is drawn for those names for the 50, and that would be the process this year, if you so desire to proceed in that manner.
All right, so consideration of town council to issue hunting permits on town-owned land in Sand Mountain. We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Madam Mayor.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do have a question. Will that be like posted in the paper or put on the website for people want to do that lottery by chance?
Yes,
Is that how?
yes, ma'am, it'll be both.
I know before it was always like tough to maybe get in, from what I heard, and I think it leveled out there for a little bit.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay, so, good.
We've not had more than 50 for the last few years.
Okay, sweet, good, thank you.
All right, any other discussion or questions?
Just to verify that, can you verify the amount, Ms. Corbin, that they have to pay for that permit?
I believe it's $25.
25 still? Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other concerns or questions? All right, so I need a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All right, hear none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Next on the agenda is upcoming meetings. Town Clerk Sherry Corbin.
Yes, ma'am, I have just a few. The next regularly scheduled town council work session will be tomorrow, June 10th at 4 p.m. here in the council chambers. The Wytheville Planning Commission meeting that was scheduled for this Thursday, June 12th, has been canceled. The Downtown Wytheville Incorporated Board of Directors will meet on Monday, June 16th at 5:30 at the Downtown Wytheville office. The Wytheville Redevelopment and Housing Authority will meet on Wednesday, June 18th at 12 noon at the Housing Authority office. The Town of Wytheville municipal offices will be closed and all services curtailed on Thursday, June 19th in observance of the Juneteenth holiday. And the next regular scheduled Wytheville Town Council meeting will be held on Monday, June 23rd at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. Under other business, next would be council member time, and we'll start with the Vice Mayor.
I just have one item. I received a complaint from a citizen in regard to the hedges on the different streets. And this particular street is 3rd Street. Some of the hedges are where, when you get ready to pull out, after you stop at a stop sign, you get ready to cross an intersection, you're not able to see because some of the hedges are overgrown. And if we could please work with some of our constituents to get their hedges cut back so that we can keep the rest of our constituents safe when they are trying to maneuver. And I think that's all I have for tonight.
We'll have Public Works take a look at that. Most likely, these are on town right-of-way. We can trim them at least to the right-of-way line. But they'll be pleasant about it. They'll let the property owners know before they do that if they can reach them. So,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Any seconds?
Yes, ma'am. And I have talked to a couple departments on, I think we had maybe a water leak issue in a house, water sewer issue. From my understanding, that is being worked on. From my understanding, it took a good little bit to have the water cut off, but from my understanding, the departments are working on that, or looking into that.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
And then also, just wanted an update on like the 1300 block area for the curb and guttering.
Was proposed? Yes. In fact, we have talked to Public Works and engineer Billy Anderson, and they're going to be working on that. Public Works says they think that if weather prevails, they can do that in about 30 days. So I've asked them to proceed in that direction.
So
Yes,
like,
ma'am.
it would start like in 30 days or take 30 days to possibly do that?
Take
area?
30 days
Okay.
to do it once they get started, and I suspect they could start within the next week.
Okay, thank you. And also, just want to keep on the topic, I know it's a little expensive, about the push button over here at Tazewell and Monroe. I do appreciate the walking, blinking signs, those are there, and those are very nice. But I just didn't know if there was something, and I know Mr. Hand brought up a suggestion about, I guess, a solar something or another, I think maybe a couple meetings ago. But that's just a concerning area, I think, for citizens who do walking, and just a very congested area.
Is that on our agenda for tomorrow?
I didn't,
It might be.
Well, I
didn't
did,
see it.
I did send it in a council update, that information.
okay,
It doesn't matter.
I'm
But-
sorry.
But it is an expensive project if you do configuration for that whole intersection with a signal for pedestrians, which means, they would get a red or a white symbol to cross after they press the button. But there are available solar signs that would flash upon pressing that button, which would say that there's someone approaching the crosswalk to cross. And, there are those signs there now, but they're only two, and they face only in two directions. So these would be in all four
But
directions.
even if possibly, I don't know, bless you, Mr. Castle, I don't know if even just consider two, I don't know, it doesn't really have to be all four, because I know you could at least go across this block and then come this way, but I know there's somebody more intelligent than myself to figure that out. But I wouldn't mind considering two, possibly not all four, just because it is a very, very tricky area.
Well, when I meant four, I mean in four directions, both oncoming from
Oh, okay.
east to west and west to east. So it'd be one on each side of the street to get their attention, which meant four
Or
signs.
if
but-
somebody has a better solution, I'll be more willing to listen.
But that's
Thank you.
about a 10 to 15, as we understand it, that's about a $10,000 to $15,000 project versus the full signalization, which is $150,000.
I remember you saying
plus.
150,
ma'am.
yes, sir. But-
But we can talk about that further in the
Okay,
work
thank
session.
you. I'm pretty sure that's about all I have.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks.
And I don't have anything, so we'll go to Kathy.
All my concerns have been taken care of via email. I just want to say I attended the Homestead event Saturday. It was lovely. Entertainment was wonderful, sponsorships, and the food was great. And I thought we had a pretty decent turnout because it looked like rain all day. So that everybody did an excellent job. I enjoyed it.
We'll pass that along to staff. Thank you.
Mr. Hand.
Dr. Terry, the only thing I have is to ask if we have an update on the 20th Street Bridge. I have been by, and certainly it's under construction, but are we on schedule? Any problems, or have you heard anything at all? If you
I have
haven't
not-
heard anything, that's probably good. but
I have not heard anything, so I
Okay.
hope
Well,
that's
that's good.
good news.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just checking. Thank you.
Okay. So if there's nothing else under miscellaneous before we?
Well, I have one item under miscellaneous. I think you got information from Ms. Corbin about the VML meeting in Roanoke in October. She'll be glad to help you sign up for that if you would like to. This is a good meeting in that it's close by, and if you would like to attend, please let her know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Mr. Moore, did you say that progress may start on North Street in about a week or two? Thank you.
Wow, thanks.
Okay, if that's the case, then town council now feels the need to go into closed session. Closed meeting pursuant to 2.2-3711, A.1. discussion regarding the town manager position, and 2.2-3711, A.8. consideration with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters to obtain legal advice. I need a motion.
So moved.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? All right. We are now in closed session. Council finds it now necessary to reconvene into open session. Council is now in open session. I need a motion necessary to certify that only matters lawfully convening the open session were discussed.
So moved.
Have a motion? Do I have a second?
I second, Madam Mayor.
Motion and second. Any discussion? I hear enough, this will be a roll call vote. Vice Mayor?
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Joseph Hand, aye.
We are now in open session. Is there anything else to come before council this evening? Hear none, all right, we are